Hi everyone, my name is Anita Sharma and I welcome you all on Inkpot Media. Jaan Pehchan, Len Den, Bharosa, Karma. You must be wondering what am I talking about and why I am talking about. What is it to do with research at all? Trust me, I too had the same question in my mind when I checked the Google Scholar profile of Professor Ramendra Singh. In this video, you will also get to know that Professor Ramendra Singh is trying to reconceptualize the literature and research narratives towards Indianness and getting them published in A-star ranked journals. Professor Ramendra Singh is an associate professor of marketing at IIM Calcutta. He is a PhD from IIM Ahmedabad, MBA from XLRI Jamshedpur, and BTech from IIT BHU. His research has been published in reputed international journals such as Journal of Micro-Marketing, International Marketing Review, Journal of Business Ethics, Industrial Marketing Management, and many more. He has worked for several years in sales and marketing positions in organizations like Indian Oil Corporation, ExxonMobil, ICICI Bank. With the research interest in sales and BOP marketing strategies, he sees his context of research everywhere. He thinks a lot, and because of his research interests, ideas, and publications, he recently bagged the B.K. Bidla Distinguished Research Scholar Award for Social Science and Management 2019. Before moving further, I request the first-time viewers to subscribe to the channel, and I request everyone who is watching this video, please watch till the end, because in a rapid fire round, he is going to tell us how he identifies his context of research. Now let's go to him. And I'm very happy and glad to see you today, and you are going to receive the Distinguished Research Scholar Award on the Gandhi Jayanti. And we all are excited to hear from you. What is your research journey? Please tell us, and tell the audience specifically who all are willing to make research as a career.
Yeah, thank you first of all, Anita, for inviting me on this platform to share my journey, and I must thank PK Birla organizers also to bring that into the attention. How is a researcher journey? So let me just share a couple of thoughts. So my research journey started actually in a very interesting way. I was doing my MBA in second year. So I'm a traditional engineer plus MBA kind of career. So I was doing my MBA in the second year when in one of the courses I was preparing, which was called Consumer Behavior course. So we had a reading, rather an article on Harley Davidson, some ethnographic study. And I remember I was preparing for that paper. I was reading the paper, and I got so lost in reading that paper. I had only allocated half an hour for reading that paper, but eventually, I got lost in reading that paper, and when I finished that paper, it was past midnight. And I had no plan for it. It had totally spoiled my timetable because I had other things planned up. And but then that day something kind of clicked, and then I realized that this MBA is probably not for me. I have some other plan waiting for me, right? So I was so infatuated by the research article that I was reading, that I decided that I'll learn to do research like this myself, right? And I think that was a moment when I realized that research is for me. And then henceforth everything became easy because it was on one hand difficult because I had to finish my MBA, which looked very uninteresting from that point of time. But it became interesting for me because I found a purpose. So from that point of time, I started searching, which PhD program I have to go to. I started applying a lot, one thing led to the other. But eventually, as fate would have it, it took me 2 years to start my PhD. This was 2002, and the earliest PhD could have started at 2003, but somehow it did not materialize. And the next year I got married, so that again it got postponed. And finally it got materialized in form of IIM Ahmedabad offer. I joined IIM Ahmedabad 2005. So that's how I landed up in the PhD program. And of course, as you said, PhD program is the beginning of the research journey. So that's how my research journey started. And those 5 years in IIM Ahmedabad was very, very interesting, because you have a lot of interesting professors doing a lot of good work, and then you can select what area you want to work in. I had some plan, like I would work on distribution channels. I used to interact with professors, and they said, you're too kind of new in the system. You're too early in the system. We will teach you how to do research. But I was like very excited. I wanted to do it from day one. So I took a lot of initiatives, like writing papers on my own. I did not know how to write papers, but I just went on, did it my way. But then I also asked my faculty that tell me how to write papers and all. They said, they'll, have patience. We'll teach you. That's why you are here for. And I think, yeah, one thing led to the other, and it was very, very interesting research journey. And those 5 years went by. It was a huge drop on my lifestyle. My salary dropped by 90% compared to the world. So I was earning like 10,000, 11,000 rupees stipend in 2005, 2006, and I had a family. In fact, my son was born when I was in second year. So we had a difficult time, in terms of financial kind of issues. But we just managed. But academically, it was very fulfilling, and the family supported a lot. So it was great. I mean, at least those 5 years.
Okay. So what was your PhD area broadly?
Yeah, so PhD was in the area of sales management. That's a broad area, and more specifically, if I tell you what I did in those 3 years or 2 years in the PhD thesis writing part, I developed a scale for measuring the customer orientation of a salesperson. So you will say, what's the big deal? Why it took you 2 years? Yeah, that's a good question if you ask, or anybody asks me, that why it takes 2 years to do this. In fact, somebody can even go on the other side and say that, why did you do it in the first place? There is already a skill, and that becomes even more difficult question because especially if that person who's asking the question is not an academic, to answer him. Suppose some executive tells me, why do you want to develop a new scale when there are a couple of scales? And then the easiest answer I can give in that case would be that we don't have one for the Indian context, which is the simplest possible answer. But more importantly, I developed the scale also from the point of view of the fact that if I can take that liberty to say that I thought most of the scales definitely don't have the cultural context as for all of the scales. And more importantly, I thought that this will be my journey into probably consulting also, which is like little ambitious at that point of time, because finishing thesis itself is a big deal, and then thinking of two things. But my supportive guide, Professor Brian Koshi, gave me that hint, that if you do a good job, then this will be your put in the consulting world in future, of course, after you finish your thesis. So I thought, this might be kind of a trial into that area also. But I enjoyed the entire development process. So we called it SAL Custor, SAL CUSTOR. So SAL stands for salesperson, Custor means customer orientation. So it stands for salesperson customer orientation. And I really was very, very happy when the paper got published, which was on the scale development.
So how your research interest eventually got evolved, because now you are working more towards the bottom of the pyramid, marketing strategies and those aspects. So how from sales to the strategies part?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, this is very, very interesting question. Good that you asked. So I did my PhD. I spent almost 5 years thinking about sales and distribution, and then last 2 years definitely on the thesis, which was entirely on sales. And then I finished my PhD in 2010 in March, and in April I joined IIM Calcutta almost immediately. And when I joined IIM Calcutta, I happened to read that book by C.K. Prahalad called Fortune at the Bottom of Pyramid, which I think all of us have read. And that had a lot of impact on me because that really raised a very important question that, what research we are doing, does it impact, the common man? Of course, at some point of time, whatever research we all are doing is impacting the common man. But I would have been happy, or I would be very happy if the impact is on the poorest of the poor. Maybe I'm not been able to make an impact even after a lifetime of research, but at least I'll be happy thinking that my subject and my context is something that most of us in the research world probably would avoid. Because we have better things to research on. We have the rich man's problem to think of. We have the corporate profits to think of, and so on. We have the employee problems to think of. So everybody was in my circle. Everybody was bothered about corporate profits or organizational strategy or employee behaviors. Nobody was bothered about the common man, the very, very common man, very, very poor person. So what are the issues in housing or healthcare or other things? So that was the motivation. In 2010, I read that book. I got infatuated by that. So I decided to float a book. So I started an elective course in IIM Calcutta called Marketing at the Base of the Pyramid. A lot of students took it year after year. So I have taught that course for several years now. But I also decided that now that I have finished my PhD, I will start doing my research on this area. So that's how it started. So after that, one thing led to the other. One book has also recently come out, which is an edited book, and I've written a couple of papers. I mean, more than a couple of papers. So that really is my driving force.
So you're talking about the bottom of the pyramid marketing.
Right. Which is an edited book, but so I've been an editor, but so that's not really a great contribution, so as to say. But what I've really managed, why I feel happy about that book is that so somewhere down the line I have a plan to write my own book. But why I mentioned this book is because I managed to convince at least a dozen authors to write. And some of the authors who have contributed to this book are not the ones who are dominating the narrative. So a lot of books are written by C.K. Prahlad's and Ted London's, Stuart Hart's. I mean, they're kind of dominant voices, and their voice is definitely important, but seems to dominate the entire narrative, right? So there has to be some other kind of outlets where the common researchers, people like me and others. As well as uncommon researchers, everybody is welcome to contribute to this book, so that the other forms of narrative can also come out, right? So that there is a parallel view on the area. So that's what this book was about.
Okay. So out of so many papers, which paper is close to your heart and why?
Actually, I was thinking about this question, and I would say it's not really one paper. So it would be rather two papers, and I'll tell you why. So there is one paper I wrote in 2012 with one of my good friends and collaborator. The paper was on karma orientation. So let's say karma. So karma is the Indian term for our actions leading to our future, or actions leading to rewards. So that we wrote in 2012, where we were very passionate that time that nobody's talking about karma because nobody's interested. The Western world doesn't know about it or doesn't care about it. And when we first wrote that paper and presented in a conference, we got a terrible feedback. They said, "Oh, you don't." They said, the Americans said, "You don't understand karma. Karma means destiny." And and me and my co-author were looking at each other, and we said, "Really?" And then we did not argue with this because we thought it will take us more than one paper to convince people. So we went back, we thought about it, and then we kind of further strengthened the paper to convince the Western audience that karma is not destiny. I mean, they are somewhere linked, but karma is more than that. So we conceptualized the construct, we wrote about it, antecedents, the consequences. So it did not get published in a very, very great journal, but it was it came out. We were happy. Then we replicated that through other studies, other papers, and we are trying to come out with more empirical work on that. So that's one paper, and the other paper that I'm very happy about is the one that recently came out with foreign authors also, which is on Jaan Pehchan. So which is on the concept of Jaan Pehchan, how knowing each other helps us to do business or to make life easy and so on. So it got published in Industrial Marketing Management. And why I'm really happy about that paper is because, and both the papers, especially now, Karma and Jaan Pehchan. And there's another one that I wrote on Jugaad, so there are three papers now. So, because this brings in the Indianness into the context, so the Jugaad and the Jaan Pehchan and the Karma. And in the Jaan Pehchan paper, we have spoken about other Indian concepts like Bharosa, Len Den, and those things. So those are something, that have never been talked about in the literature. So I'm happy about that. So bringing in the Indian context, Indianizing the literature, which I always complain that entire literature is Western, American, North American, biased. So I always, as a PhD student, I have complained about this, and I think now is the time to pay back, right? I mean, give back rather than just complain. Try to bring in other context if you think that there is a biasness in the literature. That's what I'm trying to do.
So I think this is a very interesting thing to observe, that you are reconceptualizing the entire course of narratives and putting it in Indian context and selling it to the rest of the world, or sharing it with the rest of the world, that who Indians are, what they do, and in terms of managing business, in terms of having innovations in their day-to-day course of action, and also this karma theory. I think we all believe in it, and now you are taking it to the next level. So I am asking these questions now with all the speakers, because research, we all think that it's a serious stuff. So let's lighten it out. So I want to have a rapid fire with you.
Sure,
Are you
sure.
ready for?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the
Yeah, I'm
first
ready.
question.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so the first question is, because I've heard a lot about Joka. So tell me, what's the best thing about Joka?
So on a lighter note, Joka actually is one of the motivations for me to enter into bottom of pyramid, because IIM Calcutta is like an island, and Joka looks more like a bottom of pyramid to me. So if I can say that. So yeah, so Joka, if you mean Joka means the campus, then it's like an island. We are very different from what you will see outside the walls of IIM Calcutta. When you go out of IIM Calcutta, you'll see it's a very common. I mean, it's a very downtrodden kind of area where you can see poverty there, and there's a highway which goes to Diamond Harbour. But in and around is extremely modest. There's not much that you can see or talk about. So, but if you talk about Joka as a campus, it's an island of excellence. You have intelligent students. You have vibrant faculty. You have 7 lakes. Some of the lakes you can enjoy kayaking also. You have gym, you have swimming pools, and a host of other things. So it's a vibrant campus full of life. But when you step out of the campus, yeah, I mean, for people like me, it gives a motivation, because I see my context immediately. It's the base of it. So I don't have to do much to to see my research context. I just have to step out and I see the research context.
So next thing is, like, most of the people know you as a researcher and a serious person. Also, tell me, what is your favorite time pass activity?
Time pass. Yeah, you won't believe my favorite time pass is thinking. Yeah, and I think a lot, and I spend a lot of time thinking. Not always research, but some ideas. So I'm a creative person. I keep thinking about ideas. Some of it gets materialized, like karma. Others are just staying in my mind. Someday it might result in something.
So is there any pattern you think, the way you think, is there any pattern to that? Structured, unstructured? Do you write
No,
somewhere?
not really. No, not really. I wish I could think in a structured way. That you gave me a good idea, but I'm kind of a random thinker.
Okay.
So anything that comes to the mind, I start thinking on that. So, but I need to structure it out. That's a good idea. Yeah.
So the next question: any funny incidents you remember from IIM Ahmedabad or your fellowship days?
Okay. Yeah, a lot of funny incidences, but one thing I'll mention, which will also highlight the frustrations of a researcher. I'll call it funny because my guide handled it very well. So in one of the meetings with my TAC, I got really frustrated because progress was not coming. So I had taken some notes with me, and the meeting got over. I was going back to my hostel where I was staying, and in one bit of anger, I tore off those pages and put it in the dustbin. I thought nobody was around. I had vented my frustration, and immediately after 10 minutes, my guide calls me and says that he remembered something. He wants to discuss it again. Please bring those papers also along with you. And and it took me 2 minutes to.
Laughing.
Somebody has seen me tearing those papers, and I said, I actually have left it, and I can't meet you right now. I'll meet you tomorrow. But then when I met him tomorrow, he really presented it very well. He did not say that I saw you or somebody saw you tearing the papers, but he said he gave me a lot of gyan on what is frustration and it's part of the journey and so on. I understood, and everybody understood what we can talk about. So that was a lesson.
So thank you so much, Professor, and keep doing the good work, and we will come back to you.
And never miss another update.